It's Friday, and I promised you something special. It is another soundtrack. For a very forgettable movie, we have a very unforgettable soundtrack. The movie came out in the early 1980s. Critics hated it. I don't even think a lot of fans liked it. But the music was just excellent. Now, I told you earlier we did a episode maybe a couple months ago, Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton, and everybody thought, Burt Reynolds, how do you combine him with, superstar like Dolly Parton to actually be singing? And Burt did a solo song as well. That was one of the terms of his contract. Well, today, it's something even more outrageous. Still Dolly Parton, surprisingly. Another Dolly Parton soundtrack. And Dolly wrote almost all the songs on this, and I'll tell you, she said she thought it was some of her best work. I have to agree. I think this is some of Dolly Parton's best work. You can't really call it country, I don't think. It's not really like the old country and western. It's not new country. It's a different kind of writing. And again, I get into this with singer-songwriters. I don't know how to classify it. It's just good music. Who is her unlikely co-star this time? Well, what would the most outrageous combination be? It's another box office star. Who would you least expect to be singing duets with and a solo on the soundtrack? Hold on to your hats. Yes, it's Sylvester Stallone. Come on, man. Sylvester Stallone singing with Dolly Parton. And Sylvester Stallone gets a tune of his own, albeit one of the worst songs on the album, but we'll get into that in a minute. Yes, it was the soundtrack for the movie Rhinestone. Now, another bonus on this album. A couple of times they're showing concert scenes in the video or in the film, and you actually get to see the band. And there's two players that, again, my favorites from Jackson Browne's Running on Empty, and another favorite on so many albums. We've got David Lindley and Lee Sklar. I mean, Lee plays for everybody. Who doesn't he play with? But I mean, these two combined together, heard them first on the Running on Empty album. Here they are back together doing Rhinestone. Now, a lot of tunes. I'll just run down the list of songs we have. Be There with Dolly Parton and Sylvester Stallone singing together. The song Butterflies by Dolly Parton. The Day My Baby Died by Rusty Buchanan. Drinkenstein by Sylvester Stallone. And yes, that song was just as bad as it sounds. Now, on the soundtrack album, you hear it and you say, what is this? Why would they even leave that on the album? This has to be the worst thing I've ever heard. But it served a purpose in the movie. And it really, fit in there. Out of context of listening to it on the album, you're not going to get that. But seeing it in the movie, it did serve the movie well. So yes, we've got that in there included. God Won't Get You by Dolly Parton. We got Going Back to Heaven by Stella Parton and Kim Vasey. Now, Dolly's got a few of her relatives in here as well, giving them a little shot. We've got One Emotion After Another with Dolly Parton. Stay Out of My Bedroom, Sylvester Stallone with Dolly Parton. Sweet Lovin' Friends, Dolly Parton, Sylvester Stallone. Tennessee Homesick Blues, Dolly Parton. Too Much Water. This is one of my favorite tunes. This is a great song. Randy Parton. We've got Floyd Parton doing Waltz Me to Heaven. What a Heartache by Dolly Parton. And we're wrapping up the show with Woke Up in Love with Dolly Parton and Sylvester Stallone. The music from Rhinestone, to me, it was just an excellent album. I used to have this on cassette. I carried it in the car with me all the time. I would often put that on road trips. Now, I'm not a big country fan. Dolly Parton, I liked what she did in that 80s era. I'm not big on the old Dolly Parton, early days with Porter Wagoner and that kind of thing. I didn't really get it. New country these days, I'm not really getting that as well. I'm kind of locked in that 70s, 80s mode. And the music she was turning out here, again, I don't know how to classify it. It's just good music. And here's the beauty, it's available for streaming. You can also get hard copy of it, or not a hard copy, a digital download of it. Now, don't know where you can find the movie. You might have to check that out to see if you want to take a look at it. The music is the thing. The movie wasn't a great movie. It was a comedy. It was fun. Stallone had some funny stuff in there. But the music stands on its own. And I agree with Dolly Parton. I think it's some of the best work she put out. It's just a very consistent album, if you scrap Dinkelstein. But anyways, that meant something in the movie, not so much on here. Great memories from the 1980s. I think it was about 1984 this came out. But if you get a chance, check it out. Put a smile on your face for the weekend. Some great tunes. Something nice to listen to just to relax with. Okay, that's it for this week. Another week down. Obviously, my Losing My Voice tour is still continuing, so maybe by next week we'll have that under control. Until then, everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe. Take care. Thanks for stopping by.